Hello everyone, Starkey 2014 back here again. This is going to be a different video. It's not about the stuff that we talked about already. So this is going to be a different subject. I would like to discuss today about the dangers of psychedelics and the risks involved with that and how it can be very dangerous to do. And this might be a two-part video because my story might take a minute to explain. But I'm gonna try to get it done in one video if I can, not ramble too much. But anyway, without further ado, we'll get into it. Because more people need to really know the true dangers that come along with trying the psychedelics. Because yeah, it's not as dangerous as other drugs, but it can be for certain people, and for me, it changed my life, like, in a positive way. Yeah, like, I always will see things differently in life because of it. It's a great time until you get hurt, which is very well possible. You could get hurt. And this stuff, the psychedelics, even if you don't take a lot, like, if you take one or two hits of acid, it still can kill you. It can really kill you. And I came close. But we're going to tell the story. Because there needs to be someone on YouTube that really goes into the depths of the dangers of psychedelics to try and push people away from trying it, because it is very dangerous for a lot of people. Especially if you already have genetically problems with your brain because it's been passed down in your generation, like through your family. Like with me, my grandfather, he was mental. Like, he had problems, but he was alright. And some of that got passed down to me through genes. I was never book smart, like I've said. But anyway, we're going to jump into the video and talk about this story. So, I'm not going to name names here because I don't know if they would feel comfortable with me releasing their names. So I'm just going to say buddy whenever I talk about these guys that were involved in this story. But anyway, this all took place about 5 years ago, roughly about 5 years ago. In 2019, when I was just 19 years old. I had always been interested in trying psychedelics because I heard it was really cool, and I always heard that it wasn't that dangerous, and it was pretty fun. But you can overdo it with them, and I did, and even if you don't overdo it with them, you can still die. Even your first time taking a psychedelic, it could kill you, and you could have to go to the hospital like what happened with me. But anyway, without rambling on too much, I'm trying to finish my cigarette too. Sorry, bear with me, I am trying to quit. But anyway, hang on, I'm going to finish this cigarette and then we're going to get to talking. Like, because I want to finish the last bit. Okay, so when I was 19, I was working at this pizza joint called Domino's. I'm sure a lot of you know about Domino's Pizza. And everyone there that worked there was a big pothead and stoner and into like the hippie stuff. And I was into the stoner stuff too. I used to smoke a lot of weed. And there's this one particular person that I thought might be capable of getting a hold of psychedelics, because he seemed like the type of guy that may have tried it before. And I was right, because we were talking about it one day at work. And he said, I might be able to get some, and when I do, I'll let you know. And I was like, heck yeah, hook me up. I want to try it and see what it's like. So I ended up getting it, and there's this other buddy that I was friends with for a long, long time, and he wanted to trip with me too for my first time. He had already tried it once, but he did want to trip with me my first time. That way I had someone there with experience, because it is good to have someone there with experience if you are going to try this stuff even after watching my video. Um, but anyway, without further ado, I want to get back into this. Uh, so it took a little bit, but he did end up getting the psychs. And I'd bought, I remember I bought, it was a quarter of shrooms I bought. Altogether, it was about a quarter. And 5 hits of acid. I didn't do it all at one time. I did it over the course of a few trips. And I shared with my buddy too, so I didn't do everything that I had by myself. But, hang on, I'm trying to remember. My brain is foggy at times. Just bear with me. Okay, so I get off work this day, and I didn't have to work the next day. And I know it's good to not work the next day after doing it, because it takes a little bit for your body to come back to normal and really, recover from the trip. Because it does change you a bit, and it takes time to get back to normal. But, anyway, I done shrooms twice, and then I done acid, I think 3 times, maybe 4. But the third or fourth time I did acid is when it all turned bad, because it messed me up pretty bad, and I ended up having to go to the hospital, and I almost died. Like, I did almost die. It was that serious. I had to go to the hospital, and they had to put a catheter in me, because for some reason I was having trouble peeing, even though I felt like I had to, and my brain's foggy anyway, because I don't remember everything that happened, but I do want to explain the story. Because the acid also causes schizophrenia too, and it brings it out in you younger if you do it. That's what happened to me. That's why I got some of the problems I have. That's why my brain doesn't work too well sometimes. Plus, getting hit in the head from combat sports doesn't help. I'm a pretty tough guy, yeah. I've been through a lot, and I can get through a lot, but acid could have very, very well took me out of this world. I'm thankful to still be here and be able to live what you would consider a normal life again. Because there's people that have done acid and shrooms, and they're fucked up to this day. And my family, they literally thought I was never coming back because I was tripping for 2 months straight. And luckily, the medication that I was on, it helped me come back to normal. And what you would consider normal as best you can. But I found out I can't smoke pot after that, because it puts me back into tripping after a while of smoking weed. Excuse me, sorry, I had to burp. But anyway, back to the story. So, I was in the hospital the first time for like 10 days, and then I got released from the hospital. And I think before I ever went to the hospital, things got real bad for me. I did end up getting fired from my job too, because I was tripping at work. And the boss, he had to terminate me for good because I did do it at work. And I did like the job. It was an okay job to have, and it paid decent at the time. Inflation's went up, so now it's hard to find a real good paying job and make a good bit of money. That's why one day I would like to make it famous on YouTube, if I can, because I do need the extra money. Everyone needs the extra money in these times, because everything's going up in price. And there's some things that I want to get to eventually, like a heavy bag and a new weight bench. I've got things that I want for myself that I need to get to help me have better workouts and stuff. But anyway, back to this story. So I'm all fucked up on acid, and I walk down this one back road back in the sticks where I used to live at, because I grew up in the country most of my life. Uh, but anyway, I'm walking down this back road, and I know I was in there a good 8 miles down that back road walking, and I had an ounce of weed on me in a bowl, and I was smoking weed going down this back road, and I was smoking out of a bowl going down the back road and stuff, and I kept walking and knocking on people's doors. I was looking for this one guy, and I got a story about this one guy that I'm gonna tell one day, without mentioning his name or nothing, because I don't want to put him out there for, obvious reasons. It's a person I had a beef fight with, but we made up over that, and that's gonna be a story I do want to tell, because it has to do with drinking and the dangers of drinking and what can happen. Because that guy, he beat my ass for what happened, even though I didn't mean to do what I done, and I wish I could take it back. But when you're drunk, some things happen. But anyway, so I end up going to jail because I get caught walking down the back road, and the cop comes and gets me, and he took my whole ounce of weed from me and my bowl. Never got the bowl back, which is sad because I like that bowl, and I could have sold it for money whenever I quit smoking, made a little cash off of it. But it is what it is. Cops got to do what they got to do. They're just doing their job. And at the time, weed was super illegal still around where I live at. It's not as bad now. Like, people won't really get in trouble as much for it. They're more lenient, but it's not completely legal here where I live at yet. One day it will be completely legal, though, I'm sure. And I don't have nothing against people that do still smoke pot. Just I don't bring it around me, because that'll be temptation for me to do it. But back to the story. So he ends up driving me to the jail, and I'm in there for 3 days on suicide watch because I was so psychotic they didn't want to put me in a pod with everyone else, because I would have probably been in a lot of fights. But I end up being locked up in this cell for 3 days, and I don't think I ate the entire 3 days. I'm pretty sure I did not eat. My acid could have been laced with some speed, because that's a symptom that, like, when you do meth, which I've never done, never will, but meth will make you stay up for days on end and not eat. That's why I have a suspicion that my acid could have been laced with some meth, but maybe not. Maybe it was just real strong acid. But anyway, I'm locked up in this cell for 3 days, tripping my ass off and having a bad trip because I went to jail, and I got real psychotic. And on the door of the cell, the glass that's in it, they say it's bulletproof. That's what I've heard. And it's thick glass. It is real thick glass. But I don't know what possessed me to do this, but I wanted out of that cell so bad, and they would not let me out for anything. And when you get locked up like that and you're tripping on acid, and you don't understand why you're there, really, and over some weed, it just makes you psychotic even worse, because you think you shouldn't have been taken to jail in the first place for that. It's a misdemeanor, yeah, but I would have rather not had to go to jail over it. But anyway, so I haul off and sucker punched that glass door as hard as I could, and I shattered part of the glass out of the door, but not much, not enough to where I could reach my hand there and get out of the door. But after that, I jumped, and I kicked my foot off of the wall, and I punched the ceiling of the cell. I was seeing demons and stuff too. That's another thing. You can see real life demons when you trip acid. Especially when you trip acid, it can fuck you up bad. Shrooms aren't as bad because they're natural, but it's still a risk. Things can still happen. But anyway, after I did the punching of the ceiling, I hauled off and sucker punched the cement wall as hard as I could and tore off the hide off of all 3 of my knuckles. Didn't break my wrist or anything, which I'm amazed that I didn't, but I have a strong wrist from where I bench pressed a lot when I was younger. I used to be able to bench press 300 at one point. I'd like to work my way up to that again one day, but right now I'm more focused on losing fat and some of the muscle so my body can have a break from carrying it all around. And then one day I'm going to rebuild from a slimmer physique and make an even better physique than what I had before. But anyway, I get released from jail after about 3 days, and the first thing I wanted was a cigarette because at the time I was still addicted to cigarettes. I've quit here and there before, but I went back to them. But anyway, the acid, it has caused me to be in psych wards. Like, I've had to go to the psych ward a total of 4 times. And part of it's from where I fought and got concussions, because one time I got a real bad concussion and I was smoking weed on top of that. I think that had to do with why I had to go to the hospital. But I'm going to break down all the hospital videos one of these days. But anyway, when I was tripping like that and I was tripping out tweaking, when I got home, I was sitting in the fetal position and my grandma was trying to talk to me and tell me, "You're alright, John, there's no one out there." And I could see out the window, and at the time I thought I was actually seeing stuff. Like, I thought these people outside were real. But it was just a hallucination in my imagination. It wasn't actually people there. And I didn't realize that, but my cousin was outside from what I seen, and he had a gun, and he was going across the creek and around the yard with a gun like there was a war going out in the yard. And I thought that the guy that almost killed me was coming back after me for some reason. I had that in my head. Have a little bit of a PTSD from the experience of him almost killing me. But luckily he did let me live. And I think this is going to be the end of the dangers of acid and mushrooms video. I was able to get everything out that I wanted to say, really, on that for now. But I'm going to cut it here.